What if the reason you're so restless isn't because you're lost, but because your soul refuses to settle? What if the discomfort you feel isn't weakness, but a sacred reminder you were made for more? What if the path breaking beneath your feet isn't a failure, but a redirection? You're not crazy, you're not broken, you're not late. You're just being stretched by something bigger than you understand right now. There comes a moment in your life where everything gets quiet. Not peaceful, quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel restful, but rather uncomfortable, agonizing. It's the kind of silence that hits after disappointment, after another plan failed, after another door closed that you were sure was going to open. And in that silence, something inside you shifts. You stop trying to convince people. You stop explaining your heart to those who can't hear it. And instead, you begin building in the dark, quietly, faithfully, with trembling hands and a stubborn heart. Because the truth is, you're not chasing applause anymore. You're chasing purpose. You're chasing the fire that keeps burning, even when nothing outside you says you should keep going. Call it obsession, call it stubbornness, call it unrealistic, but I call it survival. I call it obedience. I call it knowing deep down that this dream, this goal, this vision, it's not a luxury, it's a lifeline. And so even when the results don't show up, even when the progress is invisible, you stay in it, you adjust, you pivot, you bleed in silence, but you don't give up. That's what it means to be stubborn about your goal, to hold the vision so tight in your spirit that even your own doubts can't pry it out. But the path? That's where it gets tricky, because the path never stays the same. The map keeps changing, the timelines keep shifting, the doors that once opened now stay shut, the friends you started with begin to disappear, and you begin to wonder, did I miss it? Did I take the wrong turn? Did I mess up the plan? But maybe, just maybe, it was never about a straight line. Maybe the zigzags were part of the design. Maybe the dead ends were divine redirections. Maybe the loss was the lesson. Maybe the silence was where the roots had to grow. Being flexible with the path means letting go of control without letting go of commitment. It means understanding that God doesn't work in straight lines. He works in layers, in seasons, in the long, slow unraveling of who you thought you were, and the revealing of who you're becoming. And sometimes, the path gets lonelier before it gets clearer. Sometimes it gets darker before the light breaks through. But that doesn't mean it's over. It means something deeper is being built. Something that doesn't just look good, but can last. We live in a world addicted to speed, to instant, to microwave breakthroughs. But real goals, the kind that are rooted in purpose and transformation, don't come easy. They come with cost. They come with time. They come with confusion. And unless you are stubborn enough to hold your ground, you will get swept away by every wave of doubt, distraction, and disappointment. You'll abandon your post because the battlefield didn't look like the blessing you expected. But if you're stubborn about your goal, if you refuse to let the fire die, then nothing can stop you, not even the storm. And hear me, the storm will come. It will test everything you said you believed. It will blow against every wall you built. It will strip away the things you thought you needed, but it will also show you what's real, what's worth it, what's anchored. And when the dust settles, you'll be standing, not because you had all the answers, but because you were stubborn enough to keep walking, flexible enough to bend with the wind, and wise enough not to break. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet don't look strong at first glance. They look tired. They look quiet. They look like they've been through things you can't see. But underneath, there's steel in their spirit. There's fire in their eyes. Because they've learned the art of being both, unyielding in purpose, but open to process, grounded in vision, but surrendered in direction. And that's what this journey requires. It requires you to trust what you cannot see, to move even when the ground beneath you feels shaky, to believe even when your heart is broken, to rise when everything in you wants to lay down, and through it all to keep that stubborn focus locked on the outcome. To say, this is my aim, this is what I was born for, and no matter how long it takes, how many times I get knocked down, how often the path changes, I'm not giving up. Because here's the truth. Your aim is bigger than your feelings. Your purpose is stronger than your pain, and your destiny is deeper than your detours. But you have to be both stubborn and flexible, fierce and humble, resilient and adaptable. You have to learn how to pivot without losing your power, how to evolve without abandoning your essence, how to stretch without snapping. And yes, it will hurt. Growth always does. There will be seasons where you feel like everything is falling apart, where your faith feels thin and your hope feels foolish, where you cry yourself to sleep and wake up with the same burden. But even then, even in the heaviness, if you can just take one more step, you win. Not because everything's fixed, but because you didn't quit. And that's where power lies, in the refusal to quit, in the choice to rise again, in the decision to keep building even when the world isn't watching. You don't need them to understand. You don't need them to validate it. You don't need them to believe in it. You just need to be stubborn enough to carry it, to protect it, to nurture it. Because the thing God gave you, it wasn't a group project. It was yours. It was a sacred assignment. And it still is, and you owe it to yourself, not just to start, but to finish. So be stubborn about your goals. Don't negotiate with the dream. Don't edit your calling to fit someone else's comfort. Don't shrink your vision because the road got hard. And at the same time, be flexible with the path. Let the journey teach you. Let the detours develop you. Let the stretching make you stronger. Because in the end, the goal isn't just to arrive. It's to become. To become someone who didn't just chase success, but embodied resilience. Who didn't just survive the storm, but learned how to dance in the rain. Be stubborn about your goals. Be flexible with the path. And trust deeply, fiercely, unapologetically that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Because it is. And so are you. So, if this message found you on the edge of burnout or heartbreak or walking away, don't turn around. Sit with it. Breathe. Cry if you need to. Scream if you must. But don't give up. If you're reading this with a heavy heart, know this. Your faith is working, even when your feelings aren't. Let the pain rise and fall like a wave. And no, you're not drowning. You're deepening. You're not being broken. You're being reshaped. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. This is your moment, not because it feels good, but because it's real. And real growth rarely feels good, but it's the only kind that lasts. Let this moment become your turning point. Let it refine you. Let it raise your standard. Let it push you into the next level of who you are becoming. And when the future you looks back, they won't see perfection. They'll see progress. They'll see a fighter, a soul who refused to fold. Be stubborn about your goals. Be flexible with the path. And don't just say it, live it. Every day, every storm, every tear, every prayer, every late night, every early morning. You're not crazy for wanting more. You're not wrong for holding on. You're not weak because you feel tired. You're becoming. That's what growth feels like, stretching. And if you ever feel alone in it, remember this. God wastes nothing. Not your delay, not your detour, not your heartbreak. He's still writing, still working, still shaping something beautiful from your surrender. So trust him. Trust the process. Trust the fire. And trust the goal he placed inside of you, even if you don't see how it all fits yet. Be stubborn about your goals. Be flexible with the path, no matter what. It's not over. You're just getting started. You've come too far to fold, too deep to go back. So rise, breathe, begin again. And when you do, drop a comment. Let the world know I didn't quit. If this spoke to your soul, share it. Somebody else out there needs this word too. Don't keep it to yourself. Be the proof that faith still moves, even in silence. Now go, walk your path with fire in your belly, grace in your step, and heaven cheering you on. Your story is still being written, and the next chapter starts now.